Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dewi Sulistya Wati. My student ID number is 332100067. I'm from class 336801. I made this video for Project 2 Final Test Applied Linguistics. For the project's instructions is solve the all case study. Start from problem 1. Mr. Thompson is a linguist studying the use of language in news reporting. He is particularly interested in how language can convey bias, shape public opinion, and influence the perception of the news events. Mr. Thompson analyzed articles from the various news outlets covering the same events to identify linguistic patterns that might indicate bias. He also considers the impacts of these linguistic choices on the audience understanding and interpretation of the news. The question is, what linguistic features should Mr. Thompson focus on to identify bias in news reporting? Discuss at least 3 features and explain how they can contribute bias reporting. The answer is, these are 3 features that should Mr. Thompson focus on to identify bias in reporting. The first one is semantic features. The semantic features uses euphemism. Euphemism is a strategy to replace an existing word or expression to a more subtle meaning. This strategy shifts meaning because in the shift of meaning, there is an effort to replace symbols in the forms of words, phrases, and the sentence with the forms, so that the meaning will be shifted. An example of the use of euphemism in the news is spending more time with family. Is usually used as a general statement by politicians who are forced to resign because they are involved in scandals that they don't want to be commented on. If we look closely, the sentence seems positive. This can simply influence opinions. By focusing on this feature, Mr. Thompson can identify how news outlets use language to create new views and impressions. The next is lexical features. Lexical features refer to the specific words and phrases chosen by the writer. These features is important to note when identify bias in news reporting. For example, the use words that aim to evoke emotions such as anger, insecurity, crime, and persecutions, and so on, are applied to events with a certain point of view. By focusing on this feature, Mr. Thompson can identify what indicates bias and shape public opinions. And the last one is source selection and omission. The inclusion or exclusion of source or news articles can lead to a biased narrative. Highlighting certain sources and ignoring others. For example, during a protest, focus only on the negatives and choosing to take certain sources over others. By focusing on this feature, Mr. Thompson can identify wherever there is bias in which information is presented and shape the reader's perception of the news. Problem 2. Imagine you are a language planner working for the government of a country with a diverse linguistic landscape. The country has several indigenous languages spoken by different ethnic groups, as well as a dominant national language used for official purposes. Your task is To develop a language policy that promotes linguistic diversity while ensuring effective communication and national unity. The question is, how can the government promote the use of and preservation of indigenous languages through education? The answer is ways to promote the use and preservation of indigenous languages through education. There are the first one is utilize existing technology and media by creating application or online platforms to learn in the indigenous language, include a dialect feature to train their speaking, and also increase content, for example, on TV or YouTube, in indigenous language. This is useful for the use and preservation of indigenous languages. The second is multilingual curriculum. Develop a multilingual curriculum using both national and indigenous languages. Include material on history, culture, and traditions. This can strengthen both languages and ensure students know the indigenous language of their country. And the third is create cultural exhibitions at school. Every indigenous language is different from another, including culture. Therefore, create a cultural exhibition with each student representing their cultural customs. And the last is community participation and awareness. For example, by establishing schools that focus on indigenous language and culture education, as well as organizing events such as cultural exchange to promote the appreciation of indigenous languages. And that's all from me. Thank you for watching, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.